Greetings, fellow adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. We're thrilled to present to you our video dedicated to Triptis Marxgrün Railway. Enjoy! The Triptis Marxgrün Railway is a branch line in Germany that runs through the states of Thuringia and Bavaria, and which was originally built and operated by the Prussian state railways. It ran from Triptis via Ziegenrück, Bad Lobenstein and Blankenstein to Marxgrün. The only section still in service today is the stretch of line between Ebersdorf-Friesau and Blankenstein. The Thuringian section is also called the Oberlandbahn Oberland Railway, the Bavarian section the Höllentalbahn Hell Valley Railway. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze planning and construction from different angles and evaluate its significance. The legal basis for the construction of the Höllental Railway was a state treaty between the German states of Bavaria, Rus Junior Line, and Prussia of 30 January 1897. From 1908 there was a through route from Bavaria to Saalfeld via the Hockerode unter Lemnitz Railway. Opening date is Triptis Ziegenrück, 17 December 1890 for Ziegenrück unter Lemnitz Lobenstein 16 September 1895 Lobenstein Lemnisch to Bonhof 1 December 1896 Lemnisch Blankenstein Sol 15 July 1897 Blankenstein Sol Marxgrün 15 August 1901. The boundary between the jurisdiction of the Royal Bavarian State Railways and the Prussian State Railways crossed the line shortly before the station at Marxgrün at kilometer post 68.24, calculated from the original start of the route in Triptis. This spot also marked the subsequent boundary between the Reichsbahn divisions of Erfurt and Regensburg. Without further ado, let's move on to the topic of Second World War. During the Second World War, the Triptis Marxgrün Railway was used as an alternative route for north-south traffic because it was a long way from centers of population that were vulnerable to bombing raids. In order to increase the capacity of the line, further two crossing stations were established during the war. Even Adolf Hitler's special train regularly used this route on the way from Berlin to Berchtesgaden. During the day the train was stored in the Kesselfels tunnel to protect it from bombing, because for safety reasons the train only ran at night. During these times no other traffic moved on the line. With the groundwork laid, let's now examine division of Germany and its connections to our previous discussions. After the occupation of Thuringia by the Red Army in June 1945, the Bavarian-Thuringian state border became the demarcation line between the American and Soviet-occupied zones in Germany. As a result, railway traffic across the border ceased on 3 June 1945. The boundary between the two railway divisions was later adjusted to align with the state border, which later became the inner German border. Brace yourselves for the next chapter, where we'll be dissecting Triptis Blankenstein in Thuringia. The northern section of the line continued to be important for passenger and goods services into the Urs. In the timetable the route was listed as KBS 530 for Triptis Lobenstein. The rest of the line to Blankenstein was part of route number KBS 565 Saalfeld Lobenstein Blankenstein. There were hardly ever any through trains between Triptis or Saalfeld and Blankenstein in GDR times. The station of Blankenstein ended up in the out-of-bounds area immediately adjacent to the so-called Staatsgrenze West, i.e. inner German border, which required police checks to be carried out on all passengers. For that reason, special trains ran between Lobenstein and Blankenstein. This way of operating continued until the political changes or wind in East Germany in 1990. On 24 May 1998 the state of Thuringia withdrew passenger services between Triptis and unter Lemnitz. Since then only the section from unter Lemnitz to Blankenstein has been worked by regional Bahn trains on the Saalfelder-Blankenstein route. At the end of that year, goods traffic between Triptis and Ebersdorf-Friesau also ceased. From that time on Ebersdorf-Friesau station, with its siding to a large sawmill, was served from Saalfeld. That meant the line between Triptis and Lobenstein was de facto empty of traffic. Shortly before its closure, however, several heavy load transporters passed through to the transformer station of Remptendorf. On 1 January 2005 this section was closed, however the tracks have yet to be lifted. The German regional railway Deutsche Regionaleisenbahn or DRE has rented the closed section between Triptis and Ebersdorf-Friesau, initially until 31 December 2009 with the aim of preserving the tract. An important step in this regard was the decision of the Federal Administrative Court in Leipzig over an urgent appeal by the DRE that the railway overbridge over the motorway BAB9 at Mosbach would not be torn down as part of the widening of that motorway. However, the reactivation of the line will not be supported by the Thuringian State Parliament because the Remptendorf-Triptis section is not important for transportation. In spite of that, at the end of October 2008, the DRE was able to agree with the Deutsche Einheit für Straßenplanungs- und Baugesellschaft DEGES, a railway crossing agreement that will see the demolition and subsequent rebuilding of the railway bridge over the BAB9 in 2009. In the current Deutsche Bahn timetable, the line from Triptis to Bad Lobenstein is number KBS 556. Now, let's delve into the intricacies of Marxgrün in Bavaria and explore its various aspects. On the Bavarian side, after the Second World War, the only significant use of the line between Lichtenberg and Marxgrün was for local goods traffic. Since 23 May 1971, even that was withdrawn and the line closed. Shortly before Hull Station, the siding of wide was installed, which for a long time was used to transport carbonic acid made at the wide acid works served by the siding. The dismantling of the track in the Höllentalbahn began in September 1982. On 30 October 1987, services to the firm of Wide ended and the rest of the line was lifted. The bridges in the whole valley were not demolished, but the tunnel was walled up for safety reasons. After its final closure in 1971, a Lokalbahn working group, Lokalbahn Arbeitsgemeinschaft or LAG, was founded in Hof, one goal of which was to organize a museum railway on the whole valley railway. The home of the LAG was the engine shed at Marxgrün. Here there was already a 1937 steam engine from the Regensburg sugar factory. The maintenance of the line exceeded the financial means of the LAG. The locomotive shed in Marxgrün has meanwhile been cleared. The building is in a very dilapidated state. The timber-framed station building in Hull was to have been preserved and used as a guest house for visitors to the spa town. These plans, produced in 1977, could not however been put into effect. The building was finally demolished and the station yard turned into a car park. At the former station of Lichtenberg there is an information center for the Frankenian Forest Nature Reserve, where a functioning model of the Höllentalbahn, in scale, can be viewed. The layout is looked after by the MEC1 Monchberger Eisenbahn Front Ev. In front of Lichtenberg station, on a short piece of track, an old industrial locomotive Lok 3, full, Babelsberg, FLC 92061 from the Rosenthal Cellulose and Paper Factory EPR in Blankenstein, as well as several coaches and wagons, recall the days of the train in the whole valley. Currently the Deutsche Regionaleisenbahn is striving to take over the Höllentalbahn Blankenstein Marxgrün. In this chapter, we'll be unraveling the enigma of prospects and discovering its transformative power. The Höllental Railway Network Initiative wants to reactivate the line through the Höllental in order to generate an effective railway link between Thuringia and Bavaria, especially for goods traffic. The Rosenthal Cellulose and Paper Factory in Blankenstein has a major interest in closing the gap in the network in the direction of Bavaria. Because 63% of its production is already transported by rail, this proportion would be further increased if there were a direct railway link to the south. The firm has therefore organized a transport conference to develop the infrastructure in the southern Sauer Kreis on 9 December 2008. On 16 December 2008, the town of Naila demanded that the reactivation of the route between Marxgrün and Blankenstein be included in the regional plan for Upper Frankenia East Oberfranken Ost. This was founded in order to improve rail traffic between Bavaria and Thuringia, especially with regard to tourism and goods traffic for the logging industry. Counter-arguments include the fact that the whole valley was declared a nature reserve in 1997. As we move forward, let's uncover the untold stories and fascinating intricacies of locomotives. There were Prussian locomotives on the whole valley railway in the early years. 2 goods train, tender locomotive G3BR53.7 goods train, tender locomotive G5.1BR54, G5.1BR54.2, G5.3BR54.6, G5.4BR54.8, G5.5BR54.1 goods train, tender locomotive G8BR55.16 goods train, tender locomotive P2 passenger train, tender locomotive T9.3BR91.3 goods train, tank locomotive T11BR74 passenger train, tank locomotive T12BR74.4 passenger train, tank locomotive T13BR92.5 goods train, tank locomotive T14BR93 goods train, tank locomotive. Later the following standard locomotives Einheitslokomotiven were employable 64 passenger train, tank locomotive only Half-Badstaben BR86 goods train, tank locomotive. Diesel locomotives also found their way into the whole valley towards the end above 260 shunter BR 211 mixed locomotive BR I 331 333 station pilot. I hope you learned something new today. Let me know what you found most interesting in the comments below.